I'm from New York and my dad's from Hell's Kitchen. Like, I wasn't raised to be very nice to people from the South that were white. Like, it's, you know, if they're flying a Confederate flag, there's no such thing as Southern pride. Freedom matters to me. We got sold this fucking lie and I didn't buy it my whole life. But it's deeply concerning and frustrating to me when I look outside and I see people walking around in a state of delusion, pretending that the world doesn't exist just because they choose not to look at it. That to me is the biggest threat to mankind. I think it's my responsibility, not as an American because we're the leader of the world, but as a human being to be very involved in the world's problems, because if they aren't here, they're coming soon here. I mean, you ask me really like why I'm like that, and it's because I see dudes like this. Like, it's like Donald Trump's a white supremacist. Like, Joe Biden is a white supremacist. They made us sit through a debate that was literally a WWE, like, preliminary to the match, like, shit-talking parade. It was ridiculous. It was like watching people with dementia argue with each other about something that happened 60 years ago. It was absurd.
Those corn muffins were lousy.
Paint by chicken coop.
Make me.
The 45th president of the United States is not somebody who I'm going to acknowledge any further. I'm not going to refer to him. I'm going to refer to his cult. QAnon is a group of very disenfranchised people. They are convinced that somehow Donald Trump is trying to save children from a satanic cult of people that drink fear that is extracted from the blood of children that are being murdered by an elitist Hollywood entertainment, fake news, and Democrat movement and filled in society. And the problem with this is these people are bored and they just found out what the internet is, and most of them are pretty old. And so they get on Facebook and they don't realize they're not clicking a legitimate news link, and they read this shit, and like, who can't get behind hating pedophilia? But like, they take it to a level of you start with that, so they're like, let me go down this rabbit hole and figure out how to save these kids. Maybe I can do it. And all of a sudden they're at a pizza place. Like, say I'm convinced the 7-Eleven I just went to, right, was somehow because I had come across this child sex trafficking ring online that I wanted to look into. And somehow I had pinpointed all these encoded messages and conspiracies online. Because if I see that, if I see 7-Eleven like on the internet and like I get confirmation from a high-ranking level US government employee that like I'm gonna be immune from criminal charges and like I'll be committing the most patriotic duty by placing somebody under a citizen's arrest who's definitely a pedophile.
I am a lawman on a mission for God.
I'm definitely gonna grab the strap. And I'm definitely gonna roll up in there and I'm definitely gonna say, stop with the kids. And so like, this is why it's super dangerous, is because that's what I would do, but you would have to show me like a very, very realistic reason for me to think that like I'd need to see some evidence of this before I was really sold on it. It's not like there were a bunch of weirdos on the internet just posting these crazy theories and people happen to just show up in these chat boards. That's not really what happened. Like, it wasn't mainstream until it got to the platforms like Facebook and Twitter and later Parler, which was literally like if the KKK invented the internet. Like, these people are really out here calling for deaths of government officials. And this is a dangerous system because these algorithms are prioritizing the most controversial stuff on the internet. Of course, the most controversial topics and posts on any social media outlet are going to be the most shocking, the most illegitimate, and the most fabricated things that are being pushed out as a fact. And so what happens is people start to argue about this, which drives engagement rates up. It keeps people on their site. And they're like drug dealers with crack, you know what I mean? They're really out there just like, boom, you know, hit them, get them for that other $1 later. And so they're just like, hopefully they'll keep commenting on this post and it will continue to engage, because then they'll be on our site another 30 minutes and another 30 minutes. Like, if anybody they know posts a long and, in their opinion, well-written post, they take it like that's a legitimate report of facts from the CIA's like leaked mainframe. This is bad. This is very dangerous. They're preying off of human emotion, being negative, being positive about something, but they're preying off of divisiveness and prepping and ramping up the citizens to go to war with each other while they sip their tea. The Capitol Hill building has not been breached by anything that wasn't allowed to be in there since 1812 when the Redcoats were running amok over there. This time a bunch of overweight, ridiculous looking, you know, conspiracy theorists who let Rudy Giuliani be their general patent went to the Capitol and didn't look tough doing it. So the way we really need to be approaching Joe Biden is with very cautious optimism, and we really need to make sure that everyone in his administration can hear our discontent with the system when it gets worse. Every time we make a step towards abolition of prisons, abolition of slaughterhouses, I think it's a good thing. But at the same time, I also think that Joe Biden's vice president used to be a prosecutor. I also know for a fact she had the wildest conviction rates. She loved the death penalty. She really did a lot of things that make me question her commitment to criminal justice reform or anything close to abolition. Joe Biden was a big part of the '94 crime bill that created a lot of the mass incarceration issues that really spiked. Joe Biden has been a historically centrist politician who will do anything to make it look like he got the Republicans and the Democrats to shake hands, which is a pretty dangerous guy. I mean, I do think that like any kind of supremacy is dangerous. Just because you have the ability to do these things doesn't give you the right to. So it's like if the United States has the most nukes, should they just nuke every country? The answer to that is no. People should really question supremacy in their own beliefs and like ideology around that, and like, you know, is might always right type of thing. Because if they were to think about that and live and die by that belief, they'd be living and dying by a sword. Because what had happened if there was a more advanced life form that decided to plant their ship down in Earth and say, you guys fucking suck, we're superior to you. We'd start reevaluating all this shit like supremacy, racism, and nationalism real fucking quick, because we'd be back to being the hunted, not the hunters on the food chain. So I don't think might is always right. I think there's exceptions to every rule. And I think that it's ironic that at a time where the world is as militarized as ever in history, you know, there's a fucking plague shutting everything down.
Great. We're all equal under that.
Yeah.